Before dawn touches the skyline in a seaside market on the edge of Taipei, trucks rattle through the fog. Their tires splash through puddles of salt water as metal shutters roll open one by one. Fluorescent lights flicker above wet concrete, and the air fills with the familiar scent of the sea. No one waits for sunrise. Work here begins with the hiss of plastic sheets being pulled aside, the gush of water cleaning wooden boards, and most of all, the sound of knives striking wood. Clack, slash, clack, a rhythm that beats like the market's own heartbeat. In the narrow aisles, a lean man in a faded short-sleeve raincoat lays a sea eel more than a meter long across his board. The eel twists violently, slick and strong, but he doesn't flinch. A steel hook pins the tail, and with one swift motion he guides the blade along the spine, scraping flesh from bone with surgical precision. Each movement is practiced sharp and wordless. On his calloused hands are dozens of thin white scars, memories of blades and time. Across from him, a crowd gathers. A giant black grouper, as heavy as a person, has just arrived. Two men strain to hoist it onto a massive cutting table. From the back of the stall, the master butcher steps forward, a man whose 30 years of experience show in the way he studies the curve of his knife. He ties a cloth strap around his wrist, steadies his breath, and waits. Then one clean swing. The knife cuts through the gills with a single decisive stroke. Dark red blood spills across the board. Without hesitation, he follows the contours of the fish, slicing through thick joints with confident precision. His hands don't shake. His eyes trace invisible lines, mapping the creature as if reading a story only he can see. Under the rough skin, the flesh appears white, smooth, and heavy. The head, ordered in advance for hot pot, is separated carefully. In this market, each cut is not just labor, it's craftsmanship. Taiwanese butchers take pride in the perfection of their cuts. Clean edges, no broken fibers, no wasted meat. Fillets are layered neatly, blood wiped away, skin-peeled bones, and heads sorted into bowls for customers to choose. The meat is vacuum-packed, chilled, and sent off to restaurants across the city before the morning rush begins. This profession leaves no room for weakness. It demands strength, patience, and precision that borders on brutality. Newcomers rarely last more than a week. One slip of the knife and tendons are gone. Hours in cold water turn fingers numb. Yet every morning at 2 a.m. they return, sharpening blades, setting boards, hauling ice. Because every stroke of the knife means food on the table. As the crowd grows, the market becomes a symphony of work, customers calling, water-splashing blades, tapping in rhythm. No one notices the fish cutters, yet they are the soul of this place, transforming raw sea life into beauty piece by piece. Next to the grouper stalls lies a row devoted to sea eel specialists. Here, cutting isn't just a job, it's a performance. Eels are peeled, sliced, and shaped into translucent ribbons, thin enough to wrap sushi. Chefs from Japanese restaurants stand beside the counter, watching every flick of the blade to ensure the technique meets their high standard. A middle-aged woman squats on a low stool. Before her is a basin of eels, fresh from ice water. She grips one firmly with her left hand, slides her knife in a single smooth motion, and pulls the skin, peels off perfectly straight, not a tear in sight. In less than a minute, the eel becomes glittering strips of white flesh, arranged neatly on a tray. She doesn't call out to customers, they come on their own. In a dim corner, a few young men begin their apprenticeship, washing fish, scrubbing boards, honing knives. Every day they watch, memorizing the wrist movement, the balance of pressure, the scent that tells whether an eel is still fresh. Some spend a year before being allowed to touch the main cutting board. Some quit. The few who endure become masters. The seafood market is not just a workplace, it's a classroom without walls or textbooks, where lessons are taught in silence, passed from hand to hand, eye to eye, over the hum of fluorescent light and the smell of salt and steel. By mid-morning, the seafood market is alive, a world of organized chaos. Water streams down the floor like small rivers, reflecting the pale light of dawn. through the roof's metal sheets. Every sound blends into one: the crash of ice, the hiss of hoses, the clatter of knives. Here, every worker moves with a purpose. The butchers do not talk much. Their eyes stay fixed on the board, their hands guided by instinct. A good cutter doesn't need to look at the knife, the hand already knows where to go. Years of repetition have turned movement into muscle memory and precision into rhythm. Among them, a few stand out. The veteran fish masters, men and women who have spent decades shaping flesh with grace. They are known not by fame but by reputation. When a new giant grouper arrives, everyone knows who should handle it. The way they raise their blade, the speed of the first cut, even the sound the knife makes, all tell you who they are. Some say this job is mechanical, but those who've watched it closely understand otherwise. It's closer to a dance, harsh, exact, and strangely beautiful. Each cut reveals not only technique but also character. One man slices with aggression, fast and loud. Another works slowly, tracing every line as if in meditation. Both achieve perfection, just in different languages of the same art. But beneath the artistry lies hardship few outsiders ever see. The air is cold, always heavy with salt and fish blood. Workers stand for 10-12 hours straight, their boots soaked, their backs bent. Sharp blades leave invisible tension in their hands, fingers that no longer straighten fully after years of holding knives too tight. And yet when you speak to them, they smile, not because the work is easy, but because it's honest. Most of them arrive before 2 a.m., long before the city wakes. They sharpen their knives on whetstones under dim yellow light, each spark flashing briefly in the dark. They check the boards, the ice, the hooks. By the time customers appear, everything is already in motion. A system so precise that even chaos feels planned. One old man once said, "In this market, time doesn't follow the clock. It follows the sound of knives." He's right. When the chopping slows, it means the morning rush is ending. When it stops completely, the day is over. Every movement here has meaning. The way they slice across the bone, the angle of the wrist when separating the fillet, the way they wash and wipe the knife after every cut. There's no written manual, no official training school, only the guidance of elders and the corrections of mistakes. Each nick on a cutting board, each scar on a worker's hand is a lesson learned the hard way. By noon, the first deliveries leave for the restaurants of Taipei. Refrigerated vans line the street, engines humming, drivers shouting names across the crowd. Inside the market, the floor glistens with crushed ice streaked with water and light. The butchers take short breaks, a cigarette, a cup of tea before the next round of fish arrives. In the corner, the eel cutters continue without pause. The delicate meat demands steady hands and unbroken focus. One woman works faster than anyone else. Her knife moves like wind, soft, invisible, but deadly accurate. A young apprentice beside her wipes the board nervously, trying to imitate her pace. She doesn't look at him but says quietly, "Don't chase speed. Chase precision. Speed will come later." It's a simple sentence, but in this market, it's gospel. Because here, perfection is not measured in time, it's measured in respect. Respect for the fish, for the craft, for the life that ends, so another may begin. By afternoon, the noise begins to fade. Customers thin out, the trucks leave, and the workers clean their boards in silence. Blades are rinsed, wrapped in cloth, and set aside until the next dawn. For a few hours, the market rests. But everyone knows it's only an intermission. When midnight comes again, the cycle will start anew. The rhythm of life shaped by knives, ice, and salt water. In the seafood market, time doesn't pass in days or years, it passes in generations. Fathers teach sons, mothers train daughters. And somewhere between the sound of knives and the smell of salt water, the art of fish cutting is passed down like a family heirloom. At one stall near the back, an elderly man in his 60s works quietly beside a younger apprentice. His posture is stooped, his hair silver, but his eyes are sharp, the kind that miss nothing. He used to be one of the best grouper cutters in Taipei, once slicing through a 120-kilogram fish in less than 20 minutes. Now he moves slower, but with unmatched precision. The young man watches in silence as the master's blade glides through the flesh, each cut smooth, confident, final. "Don't fight the fish," the old man says softly. "Listen to it." The student frowns. "How can I listen? It's already dead." The old man smiles faintly. "Not with your ears, with your hands." That's how the craft survives here, not through lectures or manuals, but through the patience of those who've bled for their skill. In another corner, a woman in her 50s peels the skin off sea eels with astonishing speed. Her hands are small but strong. Every few seconds, her knife flashes silver under the dim lights, and another eel turns into perfect white fillets. She has been doing this since she was 16. Her fingers are covered in tiny scars that never fade, but she doesn't hide them. She calls them proof of life. "When I started," she says, "I cut myself 5 times a day. No one stopped to help. We washed the wound with salt water, wrapped it, and kept cutting." She pauses for a moment, wiping her blade clean. "This job doesn't allow you to stop. The moment you hesitate, the knife punishes you." Her words are matter of fact, but there's pride beneath them. For her, this isn't just work. It's a way of being. Many who enter the trade never last. The work is too hard, the hours too long, the pay too uncertain. But those who stay, those who endure, find something rare in return: mastery. The kind of mastery that machines can't replace. And few people today even understand. Every morning, long before the sun rises, these masters arrive at the market with the same quiet purpose. They sharpen their knives the same way their teachers once did. They repeat movements that haven't changed in 50 years. For outsiders, it might seem repetitive. For them, it's sacred. Each fish they cut feeds someone, a family, a restaurant, a stranger across the city. In every motion, there's responsibility and respect. And when tourists arrive, phones raise to film the spectacle. The 100-kilogram groupers, the flash of blades, the speed and precision. The workers don't look up. To them, this isn't a show, it's life. A living performance repeated hundreds of times every day without applause. By noon, the market is hot and loud. Steam from the fish stalls mixes with the chill of melting ice. The air smells of the ocean and metal. Somewhere in the middle of it all, a young boy wipes a cutting board, eyes wide, watching his father work. He doesn't realize it yet, but the rhythm of those knives will shape his future too. Because in this place, skills are not taught, they are absorbed. From the way an elder holds a knife to the sound of a perfect slice, every detail becomes instinct. Every motion carries the memory of those who came before. The market isn't just a place to earn money. It's a living museum, one without glass walls or plaques, where the story of Taiwan's working class is written in fish scales, sweat, and blood. When the market reaches its peak, it feels almost like a living organism, breathing, pulsing, moving in rhythm. Every stall has its own heartbeat, every cutter its own tempo. Together they form the symphony of a city that never truly sleeps. By late morning, the crowd begins to thin. The noise softens to the scrape of knives on boards and the trickle of melting ice. One by one, the workers start cleaning their stations. Buckets of cold water wash away the traces of another day, fish blood, scales, bone fragments. Their backs ache, their hands tremble slightly from fatigue, but there's a quiet satisfaction in their eyes, because they know they've done their part. Another day of survival, another day of pride. Some of them will go home to small apartments outside the city, where wives prepare soup and children are just waking for school. Others will sleep right here on foldable chairs behind their stalls, waiting for the next shipment that will arrive past midnight. This cycle never truly ends, and yet none of them complain. In a world obsessed with automation and convenience, these people still live by their hands, their craft as steady as the tides. The seafood market is one of the last sanctuaries where tradition resists time, where every blade stroke connects the modern city to its fishing past. An old worker, more than 70, sits quietly in the corner. He no longer cuts, but comes every morning out of habit. His students still call him Shifu Master. He doesn't say much, he just watches. When he sees a dull knife, he nods toward the whetstone. When a new apprentice hesitates, he raises an eyebrow and says, "If your hand shakes, the fish will know." 40 years, he's never missed a single market day, even during typhoons. To him, this place isn't just a workplace, it's the world itself. The market has its own rules. There are no certificates, no degrees, no uniforms. Respect isn't earned through titles. It's earned through reliability by showing up, cutting clean, and keeping promises. Everyone here knows who they can trust, who delivers fresh, who never cheats, who helps when the ice machine breaks at 3 a.m. Competition exists, of course. Arguments break out. Sometimes voices rise, but by the end of the day, when the knives are washed and the boards are stacked, they nod to each other in quiet acknowledgement. Comrades in the same struggle. For many, this trade has built lives. The money from cutting fish has sent children to college, paid off small homes, and bought aging parents the comfort they once never had. Some have lost fingers, others their health. All of them have found meaning. They are invisible to most, unseen by those who enjoy the elegant dishes their work makes possible. Yet without them, the restaurants would have nothing to serve the chefs, nothing to perfect, and the city, nothing to celebrate. As the last customers leave, the weak afternoon sunlight spills through the cracked roof, reflecting off puddles on the floor. It paints the market in a soft golden hue like a stage after the curtain falls. In the stillness, you can hear the faint echo of the morning's labor, the rhythm of knives, the laughter, the shouts, all fading into silence. And in that silence, there's something sacred, the unspoken understanding that this is more than work. It's life itself, carved one slice at a time. As night falls, Taipei glows with neon light. Shoppers fill the streets. Cafes hum with conversation. Glass towers shine like lanterns in the humid air. But somewhere beyond the city's noise near the docks, another world awakens. Under the yellow lights of the seafood market, workers begin to return. It's midnight, they're mourning. Boots splash through puddles. Ice is unloaded. Crates creak open. And the first trucks from the harbor arrive, carrying the night's catch, glittering eels, monstrous groupers, fish still glistening with seawater. The cutters stand ready, blades already sharpened, their bodies running on instinct more than sleep. They don't talk much. They don't need to. The rhythm begins again, knives striking wood water rushing across the floor, voices calling out weights and prices. There's no glamour here, no spotlight, no audience, but there's beauty, raw, honest beauty. The kind that exists only where survival and skill meet. A man in his 30s wipes his blade between cuts. He learned this trade from his father, who learned it from his own father before him. He says quietly, "We don't cut fish for fame. We cut so we can live." But if we stop, part of the market dies with us. Across the aisle, an older woman works beside her daughter. Their hands move in unison, 2 generations mirrored in motion. The daughter's cuts are quick but uneven. The mother's are slow, steady, almost graceful. She smiles without looking up. One day she says, "You'll cut faster than me, but never forget to cut with heart." In this place, heart matters more than speed. Every fish that passes across these boards once swam free in the ocean. Every cut honors that life. And though the workers rarely speak of it, they carry a quiet philosophy, one born of hardship, humility, and repetition. They believe that a fish must be cut cleanly, not brutally. That a good knife should feel like an extension of the hand. That a worker should never rush for profit, but work carefully with respect. Such values are old-fashioned in a world ruled by machines, yet here they remain preserved like fossils of wisdom. An old craftsman once said, "A sharp knife can't make you a master. Only patience can." He's long gone now, but his words still echo through the market. Whispered between stalls passed from one apprentice to another. Outside, the first hint of dawn appears, faint blue light above the corrugated rooftops. The trucks are gone. The ice melting. Workers finish their last cuts, wash their boards, and sit together on overturned crates, sipping tea in silence. They are tired, but there's peace in their faces. The peace of people who know who they are, who understand the value of their labor, even if the world doesn't. And as the sun finally rises, the city wakes once more. Commuters rush past without ever knowing that the fish in their breakfast rice, the sashimi in their lunchbox, the grilled eel in a restaurant downtown, all began here in this quiet temple of work, under the hands of those who never stop cutting. The market breathes again. Steam rises. Knives gleam. Voices return. Life continues raw, imperfect, and profoundly human. Because in the end, this isn't just a story about fish. It's a story about endurance, about the pride of hands that refuse to stop, about the unseen people who shaped the taste of a nation. And as the narrator's voice fades beneath the hum of the market, one final line lingers. In every slice, there's a story of survival of heritage and of the quiet strength that keeps this world turning. The screen dims. The sound of a knife, one last clean cut, echoes through the dark.